Most people wait for payday to hit their account like they're waiting for relief. For a few days, everything seems under control. Bills get paid, some purchases are made, small wants show up, the card gets used, one installment here, another there, and shortly after comes the same feeling. The money ran out too fast, and then the cycle starts again. Work, get paid, pay bills, spend, tighten up, wait for the next paycheck. And the first mistake that needs to be avoided is one of the most common. Avoid lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation happens when a person starts earning more, but also starts spending more at the same pace. They get a raise and immediately raise their standard of living. They buy a more expensive phone, trade in their car, take on new installment payments, start going to more expensive places, buy clothes to look better, change their consumption habits, and without realizing it, all the extra money that could have built wealth ends up sustaining a more expensive life. From the outside, it looks like progress, but on the inside, it's often just a new prison. Because if the salary goes up but expenses go up along with it, financial freedom stays in the same place. The person earns more, but still has no surplus. Earns more, but still depends on the next paycheck. Earns more, but still has no assets, no reserve, and no growing wealth. This is one of the great dangers of the rat race. The person works more to earn more, then spends more to look like they've improved their life, then has to keep working even harder to sustain the new standard. And the more the standard rises without planning, the harder it becomes to turn back. It's like stepping onto a treadmill that keeps getting faster. You run more, you get more tired, you earn more, but you don't move forward. Robert Kiyosaki teaches that there's a huge difference between looking rich and building wealth. Looking rich is spending money to show results. It's buying things that draw attention but don't put money in your pocket. It's financing appearance before building wealth. It's living to impress people who may not even know the real price of what you're paying. Building wealth is different. Building wealth is using part of your income to buy assets. It's keeping expenses under control. It's letting part of your salary work for your future. It's accepting that maybe you don't need to show every sign of success right now because you're building something more important on the inside. Many people make mistakes because they believe a salary increase is permission to increase all their spending. But an income increase should be an opportunity to accelerate financial building. If before you lived on a certain amount and suddenly start earning more, that difference can be powerful. It can pay off debts, it can build a reserve, it can buy knowledge, it can start investments, it can create extra income, it can buy assets. But if that difference just turns into more consumption, it disappears. And the problem is, the person doesn't even notice. They think, I deserve it. Think, now I can. Think, I worked hard for this. Think, everyone else is living better, I want to too. And really, there's nothing wrong with enjoying life. The problem is when enjoying today destroys tomorrow's freedom. You can have comfort, you can buy good things, you can improve your life. But this needs to happen with intelligence, not impulse. Before raising your standard of living, raise your financial foundation. Before buying to look like you've won, build something that proves you're really winning. Before taking on a new installment payment, ask whether that money could be buying an asset instead. This question changes everything. Imagine a person who gets a raise and uses the entire extra amount to finance a more expensive car. Now they have a better vehicle, but also a bigger installment payment, more expensive insurance, heavier maintenance, and less free money every month. Now imagine another person who gets the same raise, but decides to keep their standard of living the same for a while. Instead of spending it all, they set aside part to invest, part for a reserve, and part to learn a skill that can increase their income in the future. At first, the difference between the two might not seem big. The first one seems to be living better, the second one seems to be making sacrifices, but over time, the result shows. One is trapped by bigger expenses, the other is creating margin. One is buying liabilities, the other is building assets. One is living to sustain appearance, the other is using their salary as a tool for freedom. That's why spending less than you earn isn't just a simple phrase. It's one of the most important rules of wealth building. If everything you earn goes away, it doesn't matter whether the salary is small or large. There will always be a lack of foundation. But if you manage to live below your income and direct the difference towards something productive, you start creating financial power. That difference between what comes in and what goes out is where wealth begins. It's not in appearance. It's not in the new car. It's not in expensive clothes. It's not in the newly released phone. It's not in the standard that impresses others. Wealth begins in the well-directed surplus. It begins when you earn and don't spend it all. It begins when you receive and set part aside. It begins when you decide that not all money needs to become immediate consumption. The first principle is this: avoid lifestyle inflation. When your income increases, don't automatically increase your spending. Use that moment to strengthen your foundation, eliminate debts, invest in knowledge, and start building assets. Because whoever raises their standard of living before building wealth may look rich on the outside, but remain trapped on the inside. But whoever controls their standard, directs the difference, and buys assets starts turning their salary into freedom. Before moving to the next point, I want to make a quick invitation to you. If you want to learn more about money, investments, assets, financial discipline, and how to turn your salary into wealth, become a member of the channel. By becoming a member, you'll get access to more content that can help you strengthen your mindset, avoid financial mistakes, and make better decisions with your money. Because whoever wants to grow financially needs to be in an environment of knowledge. While many people keep just working, spending, and repeating the same habits, you can choose to learn, evolve, and move forward with more direction. So click Become a Member and be part of this community of people who want to build a stronger financial life with more awareness, wealth, and freedom. 2. Stop spending to impress and start accumulating. The second principle is to stop using your salary to impress others and start using that money to accumulate wealth. This is one of the most important points because many people aren't just spending to live. They're spending to prove something, prove they're doing well, prove they've won, prove they have good taste, prove they can keep up with their friends, prove they're not falling behind, and that's where the salary starts getting destroyed. The person buys a new phone even when the old one still works, buys expensive clothes to be noticed, finances a car beyond their reality to seem more successful, goes to expensive places so they don't feel lesser, takes on installment payments that squeeze the month just to maintain an image. For a few days, this might even feel good, but then comes the bill. The statement arrives, the installment weighs, the budget tightens, the money disappears, and the impression the person tried to make on others fades quickly while the debt remains. That's the price of spending to impress. You trade future freedom for temporary approval. Two people can earn exactly the same salary and end up in completely different situations. One uses the money to maintain appearance. The other uses the money to build a foundation. The first trades their phone every year, takes on financing, buys on impulse, and lives trying to show progress. The second keeps their phone longer, avoids unnecessary purchases, reduces debt, and directs the difference toward investments, reserves, and assets. At first, the first one might seem to be doing better. They seem more modern, seem to have more comfort, seem to live better, but over time, the second one starts gaining strength. Because while one is paying for things that lose value, the other is accumulating money that can grow. And that difference changes everything. Building wealth isn't about looking rich today. It's about making decisions that leave you stronger tomorrow. Robert Kiyosaki teaches that many people confuse liabilities with signs of success. They buy things that take money out of their pocket and believe they're moving up in life. But if that thing doesn't generate income, doesn't increase wealth and still creates expenses, it might just be delaying their freedom. So before buying something to impress, ask a simple question. Will this strengthen my financial life or just improve my appearance for a few days? This question can prevent many mistakes. There's nothing wrong with having good things. The problem is buying good things before building a good foundation. The problem is trying to live like someone rich before having enough wealth to sustain that lifestyle. First, accumulate, then enjoy with peace of mind. First, build a reserve, then think about luxury. First, invest, then raise your standard. First, buy assets, then buy rewards. This order matters because when you reverse the order, your salary becomes a slave to appearance. But when you respect the right order, your salary starts working for your freedom. The second principle is this: stop spending to impress and start accumulating. Accumulate knowledge, accumulate reserve, accumulate assets, accumulate experience, accumulate investments, accumulate small, smart decisions repeated every month, because others' approval fades fast. But wealth built with discipline can change your life for many years. 3. Pay yourself first. The third principle is to pay yourself first. Most people do the opposite. They receive their salary, pay bills, spend on leisure, buy some things, use the card, and only then think about saving or investing whatever's left. But there's almost never anything left. That's why whoever wants to build wealth needs to reverse this order. As soon as your salary lands, set aside part of it for your future before you start spending. It can be 10%, if possible. But if that's still hard, start with 5%. The most important thing is to create the habit of setting money aside before it disappears during the month. This amount can go toward your reserve, your investments, or buying assets. The secret is not to leave this money mixed in with your day-to-day money, because anything that stays too available ends up being spent. Paying yourself first is a way of saying, my future is also a priority, and that changes your mindset. You stop treating savings as leftovers and start treating them as a commitment. You stop waiting for the month to end to see if it worked out and start building wealth right at the beginning. The third principle is simple. When your salary lands, don't hand it all over to bills, wants, and impulses. Set aside a part for yourself first, because whoever only saves what's left over depends on luck. But whoever pays themselves first starts building freedom through discipline. 4. Financial discipline is worth more than the appearance of prosperity. The fourth principle is understanding that financial discipline is worth far more than looking prosperous. Two people can earn exactly the same salary and end up in completely different places. The difference isn't just in the money coming in, but in the decisions each one makes after receiving it. Imagine Pedro and Lucas. Pedro gets his salary and soon increases his spending. Buys new things, takes on installment payments, trades in his device, goes out more, and tries to show he's improving his life. From the outside, it looks like Pedro is growing. But on the inside, he's increasingly trapped by bills, cards, and debt. Lucas gets the same salary but acts differently. He lives a little below what he earns, sets aside part for the future, avoids impulsive purchases, and invests every month, even if the amount is small. At first, Pedro seems to be ahead. He has more new things, appears better to others, and gives the impression of fast progress. Lucas seems more discreet, simpler, and even slower. But over time, the truth shows. Pedro keeps paying installments on things that have already lost value. Lucas starts accumulating reserve, investments, and assets. Pedro depends more and more on the next paycheck. Lucas starts building more security and freedom. That's the power of discipline. Appearance impresses for a few minutes, but discipline changes your life in the long run. So don't worry about looking rich. Worry about building real wealth. Because whoever lives off appearance might grab attention today, but whoever lives with discipline can build a much stronger future tomorrow. 5. Turn part of your salary into assets. The fifth principle is turning part of your salary into assets. Because salary alone doesn't build freedom if every month it's used only to pay bills, buy things, and maintain the same lifestyle. According to Robert Kiyosaki, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. This difference is simple, but it changes everything. An asset can be a rental property, stocks, funds, a small business, a digital product, a book, a course, a piece of music, a content channel, or anything with the potential to generate income over time. The goal is to start converting income from work into income sources that don't depend solely on your working hours. At first, maybe it's a small amount. Maybe you invest a small part of your salary. Maybe you buy knowledge. Maybe you start a simple project. Maybe you create something you can sell in the future. What matters is changing the direction of the money. Instead of using it all for consumption, you start setting part aside to build something that can grow. Because whoever only buys liabilities has to keep working harder and harder to sustain expenses. But whoever buys assets gradually starts building a life where money also works. The fifth principle is this: use part of your salary to buy or create assets. Don't wait to be rich to start. Start small, with study, patience, and consistency, because every asset you build is one less step of total dependence on your salary. 6. The real goal is financial freedom. The sixth principle is understanding that the real goal isn't just earning more money, but achieving financial freedom. Many people think getting better off financially just means getting a bigger salary. But if a person earns more and also increases all their spending, they stay trapped in the same cycle. Financial freedom begins when your assets and investments start generating enough income to help pay your expenses. This means that, little by little, you stop depending solely on daily work to survive. At first, maybe this income from assets is small. It might cover one bill. Then it might help with groceries, then it might cover part of the rent, and over time, with discipline, reinvestment, and patience, this income can grow. This is the main point. Working stops being a desperate obligation and starts becoming a calmer choice. You don't work because you're always at your limit. You work because you want to grow more, learn more, and build more. That's the difference between living trapped by your salary and building freedom. Financial freedom isn't born from appearance, nor from expensive purchases, nor from showing success to others. It's born when you create income sources that keep producing even when you're not directly selling your hours. So the sixth principle is this: build assets until they start paying for your life. That's the real goal. It's not just having money to spend today. It's having enough income to choose a better tomorrow, because when your assets start covering your expenses, you stop living just for the next paycheck and start living with more security, more control, and more freedom. 7. Build a structure before seeking big results. The last principle is building a financial structure before seeking big results. Many people want to invest, get rich, and achieve financial freedom, but try to do it without a foundation. They don't understand the fundamentals, don't control debt, have no reserve, don't know where they're putting their money, and switch strategies every time a new promise appears. This is dangerous. Before seeking big returns, you need to organize the basics. First, learn how investments work. Understand what assets, liabilities, compound interest, diversification, risk, and the long term are. Then look at your financial life and see if there are expensive debts consuming your salary. Because if you're paying high interest every month, part of your money is working against you. So first, eliminate the most dangerous debts, especially the ones that grow fast and take away your peace of mind. Then build an emergency reserve. This reserve protects you from selling investments at the worst moment or going back to the credit card when something unexpected happens. After that, start investing with the money you have available. Don't wait to have a lot. Start small, but start with consistency. Automate your contributions, diversify your investments, and reinvest your returns whenever possible. The effect of compound interest doesn't show up strongly in a few days. It needs time, it needs repetition, it needs patience. And that's exactly why consistency is the final message. Wealth usually isn't born from a single giant decision. It's born from small decisions repeated over many years. Spending consciously, investing regularly, avoiding bad debt, always learning, reinvesting earnings, adjusting strategy when necessary, continuing even when the result seems slow. That's what turns a salary into wealth. At first, it seems too simple. Setting aside part of your salary seems small. Investing a small amount seems slow. Avoiding an impulsive purchase seems like an unimportant decision. But when you repeat these choices every month, they start forming a new financial life. That's the secret. It's not about looking rich today. It's about building freedom tomorrow. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing the basics with discipline. So the final message is this: use your salary as raw material for a long-term strategy. Avoid lifestyle inflation. Stop spending to impress. Pay yourself first. Choose discipline over appearance. Turn part of your salary into assets. Seek financial freedom. And build a solid structure before seeking big results. If this message made sense to you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to learn how to turn a salary into wealth. And write in the comments, "I'm going to make my salary build my future." Make this phrase a commitment to your new phase. Because the salary you spend without direction disappears. But the salary you protect, invest, and use wisely can turn into security, wealth, and freedom.